Who doesn't love a good scary story? Something to send a chill across your skin in the middle of the summer's heat. One Saturday night, two of my friends, Rose and Hannah, came to my house for partying. We were having some real fun time together. Rose was very fond of horror stories and was continuously provoking Hannah to tell some scary tale. Just for fun, I stood up in front of my full-size mirror mounted in my living room and said proudly, "Mirror, mirror in the wall, who is the most haunted of us all?" When suddenly Hannah pushed me away from the mirror and said angrily, "This is not funny at all. Don't you know that a person should never mess up with mirrors?" "Oh, come on. You are reacting too much. And seriously, I don't believe in all these superstitious theories," I replied calmly. "What? Have you never heard about mirrors?" Rose asked surprisingly. "No, never," I answered recklessly. Mirrors have long been associated with otherworldly things and have believed to be the portal to other worlds, other selves, other dimensions, other times, and evil spirits could use them as portals to our world and even our homes, described Rose. "Haven't you seen in Hollywood movies that vampires have no reflection? For one must have a soul to have reflection," she added. "Oh, interesting. Tell me more about them," I said curiously. "You know what? Romans believed that mirrors could trap souls and cause bad luck to those who own it. One of the better known mirror superstitions is if a loved one dies in their home, you need to cover the mirrors. This is important because if you don't, their souls could wander around and get trapped inside a mirror. You know what? They even covered mirrors in the White House when Abraham Lincoln died," said Hannah. "Really? I didn't know that," I replied. "Well, Germans and Dutch cultures had a more airy belief. If you saw your reflection after a loved one has passed, this was an omen that you were to be the next to pass," said Hannah. "Oh my God, really?" I was really surprised. "It is not over yet. Another myth is when you break a mirror, you will receive 7 years of bad luck," said Rose. "This is too much now. Stop it," I said irritatingly. Don't know why, but I felt a bit uneasy. Don't look into mirrors at night, especially when the lights are off. Take it as an advice. Otherwise, be ready to suffer endless nights without sleep," said Rose. Okay. Now can we change the topic?" I said frustratedly. "Yes, why not? As long as you keep serving hot coffee," said Hannah with a smile. In order to stay up for fun, this was going to be our 6th cup of coffee, the biggest mistake of my life. This all ended up at 1 o'clock when Hannah and Rose decided to go home. When they were gone, I realized how hyper my brain still was from all of that caffeine. I was wide awake, so I started heading towards my room to get some rest. Passing by the mirror, I stopped, looked at my reflection, and then whispered softly, "Mirror, mirror in the wall, who are you waiting for?" See, nothing happened. I said to myself, smiling, and passed the mirror. I began to turn towards my bedroom door, but stopped dead in my tracks for a moment when a strange feeling washed over me. I fluttered and scanned the room with confusion. I didn't know why, but I had the feeling that I was being watched. I mean, I know everyone sort of has that kind of delusions once in a while, but this somehow felt different. It felt too real, as though someone were actually standing in my room staring at me, drilling holes into the back of my head. I turned my head and looked behind me, but no one was there. My reflection wore the same confused look as I did. Trying to shake off the feeling, I headed over to my room, but suddenly I jumped back when I thought I spotted something out of the corner of my eye. It was only for a split second, but I could have sworn that I saw something protruding out of the mirror. Trying to shake off the feeling, I headed over to my room. When I walked into my room, I noticed how much of a mess my bed was. There were clothes and about 1,000,000 of shopping bags littering on my bed. Had it really been like that this morning? I actually left it like that? I felt like such a slob, but really didn't feel like organizing the mess at 2 in the morning. I went and retrieved a couple of blankets from the closet and found a spot on the floor a few feet in front of my full-length mirror that wasn't scattered with articles of clothing. I folded the blanket into a sort of sleeping bag and finished it off by plopping my pillow down at the end. It looked so comfortable, and I was certain that I'd be able to fall asleep in no time at all. With that thought in my mind, I went to close my bedroom door and shut off my overhead light, and then shuffled into my cozy cocoon. I laid on my stomach and crossed my arms over my pillow as I faced my mirror, gazing back at myself in total comfort. I looked so relaxed, and soon I closed my eyes. The clock read 2:13 a.m. After a couple of minutes lying in silence, I heard a car door slam in the doorway next door. I knew the sound had been made by my neighbor, since a couple of seconds later a spotlight illuminated, casting a stream of dim light through my windows. I was usually okay with the spotlight, as it had never disturbed my slumber before. But due to my new position on the floor, the light had found a clear path to my eyelids, penetrating them to the point where I had become mildly annoyed. I slowly opened an eye and glanced up at the window. I sighed, waiting for the light to die out, but it didn't. Feeling more annoyed, I rolled my eyes, and in an instant they rested on my mirror. At that moment, my breathing stopped. I couldn't close my eyes. I couldn't look away. I was froze. Staring back at me through the mirror was my reflection. On any other occasion, this wouldn't have chilled me, but this time it was different. My reflection, its eyes were watching me. And I don't mean the average look your reflection is supposed to return. Oh no, this was something completely different. Its eyes were wide open, much wider than I could ever make them. The sight paralyzed me, but only momentarily. I just figured that I had frightened myself. Trying to avoid eye contact with my own image, I closed my eyes and tried to get back to sleep. The clock read 2:25 a.m. I didn't make any progress in my attempts as the minutes continued to pass. The light from my neighbor's driveway still hadn't turned off. My aggravation was beginning to build. At this rate, I wouldn't get any shut-eye. Feeling hopeless, I opened my eyes and nearly jumped out of my skin when I looked into the mirror again. My reflection was staring at me with those same wide, intense eyes. But it wasn't only that. Its eyes were now completely bloodshot. It looked like a rabid predator staring at its prey after days of looking for it. It was terrifying. But that wasn't the only reason the view had alarmed me. I didn't know if it was my imagination or not, but it looked as though my reflection had gotten closer to me. I was terrified. I could hardly move, but I had to avert my eyes. I had to. I quickly pulled the blanket up over my head. I was breathing heavy. I tightly closed my eyes, praying that I had only imagined the image. It had seemed so real and so evil, like it actually wanted to hurt me. But the very thought was insane. It was an image in a mirror, my reflection. It wasn't real. It was just a copy. It was just another me. I tried to calm myself down. At that moment, I heard the all too familiar creaking sound of my bedroom door being opened slowly behind me. I froze under the covers. I lived alone. With a shaky hand, I lifted the blanket just slightly to peek out. My eyes instantly grew wider in the fear. The door was slightly ajar. I was not breathing heavier than I ever had before. My whole body was shaking in fright. I sat up. Who's there? I stammered loudly, the fear in my voice ringing out. There was no answer. I was about to slide out of my covers when the door suddenly slammed shut. My fear level was through the roof. My heart was beating uncontrollably. I had a major headache now, and I began to quietly sob. And that's when I heard it, a low growl. It murmured into my eardrums, a growling sound, and it most certainly was not that of a human's. I couldn't scream, but then I forced a scream out. It was so loud that I woke up. I woke up screaming loud and sat up. Oh gosh, it was just a dream. My heart was racing and I was sweating profusely. I had this dream because of those stupid tales of Hannah and Rose about mirrors. Then gradually, I calmed myself down. After a few minutes, I realized today is Sunday. This thought gave me little pleasure, as I usually get up late on Sunday morning and laze around, giving myself relaxation in the early to bed and early to rise schedule. I got up and went to take a leisurely bath, unlike a hurried one every other day. After bath, I came back in my room and stood in front of my mirror. But I was completely stunned to see that I had no reflection anymore.